Today on Wrap Up Weekly, United States approves ERAM missiles for Ukraine. China, North Korea and Russia form an alliance of dictatorships. Frontline in Ukraine update on most intense battles for you. We are UATV. My name is Henry Keane and welcome to the News Pulse. The United States Department has approved for Foreign Ministry to sell to Ukraine air-delivered munitions and associated equipment worth an estimated $825 million, according to a notice from the Defense Security Cooperation Agency to the Congress. Under the deal, Ukraine would receive up to 3,350 extended-range attack munitions, ERAM missiles. The package also includes missile containers, support equipment, spare parts, obviously mission planning systems, classified and unclassified documentation, training and logistics support.
This proposed sale will support the foreign policy and national security objectives of the United States by improving the security of a partner country that is a force for political stability and economic progress in Europe. This proposed sale will improve Ukraine's capability to meet current and future threats by further equipping it to conduct self-defense and regional security missions. Ukraine will have no difficulty absorbing these articles and services into its armed forces. From the publication by the DSCA of the United States on the official website.
According to the State Department, the sale aims to strengthen Ukraine's ability to defend itself and enhance regional security, aligning with U.S. foreign policy objectives. The ERAM system, developed with NATO partners, is designed for rapid deployment and scalability. Ukraine will finance the purchase using funding from Denmark, the Netherlands and Norway. ERAM is a new development within the U.S. Air Force program for creating affordable long-range cruise missiles designed for integration with both United States and Ukrainian platforms. Overall testing including 7 full aerodynamic or engine trials, 3 fixed-position tests and 2 release drops before production approval. Ukrainian intelligence has targeted the S-400 air defense complex of the Russian armed forces in the occupied peninsula of Crimea. The radar station S-400 Triumph has been effectively targeted with strike drones. Here you can see the video of the effective strike. S-400 is widely advertised as one of the best air defense by Russia, but still it is vulnerable, obviously, to precise strikes like this. And turning off air defense over the enemy-controlled territory allows for more targets to be hit in the area. On August 28th, Ukraine's defense intelligence also successfully carried out a joint special operation in the Azov Sea near the coast of temporarily occupied Crimea. The target, a Russian Buyan M class small missile ship, a carrier of caliber cruise missiles, which targeted Kyiv last night in a terror attack. According to Ukrainian intelligence, the Shadows Primary special unit used an aerial drone strike to damage the ship's radar system, while fighters of special forces attacked the vessel itself. As a result of this coordinated strike, the Russian missile ship operating in the Temryuk Bay zone with potential caliber launch range sustained significant damage and was forced to leave its combat patrol area.
Servicemen of the Special Unit of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine Defense Intelligence Primary damaged the ship's radar with an air drone strike, and Special Forces of the Department of Active Operations of the Defense Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine attacked the side of the Caliber carrier. As a result of the strikes, the Russian missile ship, which was in the area of a potential launch of Caliber in Temryukskaya Bay, was damaged and was forced to leave the combat duty area. The armed fighting continues. From the publication of Ukrainian Defense Intelligence on Telegram.
Continued strikes with domestically produced drones and missiles, combined with supplies from Ukraine's allies, just like the mentioned ERAM missile supplies for F-16 fighter jets, are one of the only firm security guarantees for Ukraine that nobody can take away. The guarantee of ability to defend oneself and strike back, or preemptively if there's such a need. And while we celebrate armed successes of the Ukrainian defenders, we also remember the dark moments in our military history. I'm talking about the Ilovaisk tragedy. The encirclement of the Ukrainian army way back in 2014 in the Donetsk region near the city of Ilovaisk. Way back then, Russia started this war of aggression against Ukraine in Donbass and annexed Crimea. It was the year when the war was ignited. In August 2014, one of the most ferocious battles for the Ukrainian army in the war in Donbass unfolded near the city of Ilovaisk. The fighting lasted almost a month, from August 6th to 29th, and went down in history as the Ilovaisk encirclement. The Ukrainian army lost 366 soldiers. 429 were wounded to varying degrees of severity, and 300 were captured by the enemy. This prompted the Ukrainian side to agree to the terms of the Minsk ceasefire signed on September 5, 2014 in the Belarusian capital.
Every year on August 29th, we honor the memory of all our fallen soldiers, defenders of Ukraine, who died in battles for our state, our independent Ukraine. This battle for Ukraine's right to live has been going on since 2014. Since 2022, Ukrainians have been defending themselves in a full-scale war. This is an extremely long and difficult path of courage, and we do not forget, thanks to whom Ukraine is preserved. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
This day marks 11 years since those Ilovaisk historical events unfolded, and the exit of Ukrainian soldiers was discussed and signed in the treaty with Moscow, yes. I repeat, it was on the paper agreed officially with Moscow, and yet, as always, Russia betrayed it, just like any other treaty signed with them. And just like today, Maria Zakharova, the speaker of the Russian Foreign Affairs Ministry, sent the official list of Russian demands for a ceasefire. Enjoy.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
It should include demilitarization, denazification, a neutral, non-aligned, and non-nuclear status for Ukraine, recognition of territorial realities, ensuring the rights of the ethnic Russian, Russian-speaking population, and ending persecution of canonical orthodoxy. Thus, the basis of the security guarantee should be the achievement of a common understanding that takes into account the security interests of Russia, and not the desire to turn Ukraine into some kind of animal. Once again, these are the words of Ursula von der Leyen. According to her, Ukraine must turn into a steel porcupine.
Well, I hope this must be a stark reminder for all of us who still believe that any kind of negotiated peace treaty with Russia is signed on paper will stop them from anything, basically. Ukrainian and European security is in our own hands only, and nowhere else. According to China's foreign ministry, no Western leader will be amongst the 26 foreign heads of state and government attending the parade next week, with the exception of Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, a member of the European Union. President Xi Jinping will review tens of thousands of troops in Tiananmen Square on that day, along with foreign dignitaries and senior Chinese leaders. The parade, which will be one of China's largest in recent years, will also showcase cutting-edge equipment such as fighter jets, missile defense systems, and hypersonic weapons. Also watching the show personally, attending the show and the parade, will be Serbian leader Alexander Vučić, the self-proclaimed president of Belarus Alexander Lukashenko, the president of Iran Masoud Pezeshkian, Indonesia Prabowo Subianto, and South Korea's National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik. Amid China's growing military capabilities, the three leaders are showing considerable solidarity during the Victory Day parade on September 3rd, The Guardian publication writes. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian dictator Vladimir Putin are reportedly amongst those 20 foreign leaders, including India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, scheduled to attend the military parade in China next week to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II after Japan's formal surrender. The parade, hosted by the Chinese president, gave the leader of the world's most sanctioned regime dictator, Putin, a chance to appear alongside other world leaders who are pushing for the alternative world order that Xi and Putin have sought to create. In Ukraine's ongoing war against Russia, the front line near Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region remains the most intense on the front line, with Ukrainian forces repelling over 40 Russian attacks daily. Despite these tactical shifts, Russia remains unwilling or unable to end the war, continuing its efforts to seize and hold territory to use as a leverage in future negotiations. Learn more about the actual frontline situation in our reportage for you.
Ukraine's defense forces continue to hold back the relentless assault of the Russian army, inflicting heavy losses on the enemy. The situation remains most difficult along the Pokrovsk axis, where Ukrainian defenders are repelling more than 40 attacks daily, according to Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky. The Russian army is employing a 1,000 cuts tactic, launching assaults with numerous small infiltration groups. In reality, many of these are suicide squads.
The enemy is employing the so-called 1,000 cuts tactic, that is, an offensive across a broad front using small assault groups. After a series of decisive measures were taken, including the redeployment of additional forces and resources from our airborne units, we cleared out populated areas and terrain sections, and the enemy's victorious mood turned to despair. Their social media posts shifted from onward to victory to encircled, it's over. So everything reached its logical conclusion. Oleksandr Syrsky, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in an interview with RBC Ukraine.
The aggressor state has concentrated a force of over 100,000 troops near Pokrovsk. This was reported on August 23rd on the air of Ukrainian channel Suspilne by Viktor Trehubov, spokesperson for the Operational Strategic Group of Troops, Dnipro. Such a massive force would be sufficient to launch an offensive against an average European country. Yet their attempts to break through have become bogged down in Ukraine's defense.
If there were 110,000 Russian troops operating in the Pokrovsk direction at the start, I honestly don't even know how to accurately describe the scale. It feels like they've gathered a horde big enough to invade an average European country. We're holding the line. We're not so much counterattacking or liberating as we are pushing the Russians back from wherever they try to break through. Sometimes their arrogance works against them, like in the case of their push toward the Dobropilya direction. They overextended, went farther than they should have, and were destroyed there. Viktor Trehubov, spokesperson for Ukraine's Dnipro Operational Strategic Group of Troops, in a comment for Suspilne.
According to Ukrainian intelligence, Putin set deadlines for his army twice to capture the entire territory of Donetsk region, first by the fall of 2022, and then by March 1st, 2023. However, neither plan succeeded. Since early July 2022, when Lysychansk was captured and all of Luhansk region fell under occupation, the progress of Russian forces in Donbas amounted to just a few kilometers before Ukraine launched a counteroffensive in the fall of that year. The aggressor has been trying to reach the administrative borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions for 3 years now.
The enemy hasn't stopped its offensive actions. They keep attacking constantly. The Russians repeatedly tried to advance on the Pokrovsk agglomeration. When that failed, they attempted to shift south, since that area has less urban development and lower population density. That's where they managed to break through in some places and switch their focus to the Novopavlivka direction. The Russians aren't acting strategically. They're just trying to seep in wherever they find an opening. Yuri Syrodiuk, Senior Sergeant, 5th Separate Assault Kiev Brigade, speaking on Ukrainian TV channel Espresso.
Russia is not ready to end the war. It continues to push into several other areas, aiming to seize and hold territory that it can later use as leverage in negotiations. No land or territories for which they fought on the battlefield can be given up, said U.S. Permanent Representative to NATO Matthew Whitaker during a CNN broadcast on August 10th, ahead of Putin's meeting with Trump in Alaska. There, Putin once again insisted on his terms, freezing the front lines in exchange for the withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from Donbas. Meanwhile, Ukraine is working to deny Russia opportunities even deep in its rear, targeting oil refineries that supply fuel to the Russian military, reported by Alexandra Zaslavets, UATV News.
Well, that's it. My name is Ernie Keane. Thank you so very much for standing with Ukraine. Please subscribe so to stay tuned to what is happening in the world shown from the Ukrainian perspective to you. Thank you. Goodbye.